Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Just Real Sports Updates here, back again with the another installment in our 2021 NFL preseason preview. And today's focus will be the Houston Texans. So the Houston Texans finished last season 4-12. Obviously, it wasn't enough to qualify for the playoffs. Um, the Texans fired their head coach Bill O'Brien during the season. Defensive coordinator Romeo Crennel took over on an interim basis. The Texans went ahead and hired David Culley. He's a first-time head coach, and he was a assistant coach with the Baltimore Ravens. Um, so basically, the Houston Texans 2021 outlook does not look very well. They have a really big black cloud hanging over the organization with the whole Deshaun Watson saga. He requested a trade shortly after the season ended. And then subsequently, there was a bunch of off the field allegations against Deshaun Watson. So those have been those are well still actively being investigated by the NFL and the Houston Police Department. And there hasn't been any resolution yet. So the case is still ongoing, and there's going to be a black cloud hanging over the franchise until the case gets resolved. So it's not looking good right now for Deshaun Watson or the Texans. They have to get that resolved before they're able to move on. The trade request that he requested in I believe in February. He still wants that honored, and he still does want to be traded. He reported to training camp on time, but he was very limited in his participation. So I guess that kind of lets everybody know that the Texans are actively trying to move him. It wouldn't be smart to have him out there participating fully in practice, risking injury and whatnot. So it looks like the Texans are trying to trade him. We don't know to who yet, but it looks like they're actively trying to move on from him. So that'll be something to definitely look out for this season. As far as the rest of the team, um, there is some talent. The Texans do have a lot of talent on their team. They're not the worst team in the league, but with the new coaching hire, and with everything going on in the organization, it's going to be really hard for them to have any success this season. They might pull off some wins. They might pull off some upsets. I wouldn't be surprised at all. But it's going to be hard for them to have, a lot of success just based off of everything they have to deal with. Um, another key factor in the Texans, I guess, kind of their dysfunction is a guy by the name of Jack Easterby. Now, Jack Easterby, I believe he's the president of football operations. Um, he is not a football guy though. By trade, he is I believe he's a pastor. And he doesn't have any recorded like football acumen, or he's never really worked for an organization in that capacity. And it's rare that you see and he actually started off with the Texans as the team chaplain. So it's rare that you see um, you know clergymen and the chaplains who work for teams. It's rare that you see them go into the operation side of an organization. It's a completely different ball game. But for whatever reason, he's there. And I know a lot of players have spoken out against his presence there. Um, I've heard J.J. Watt say something about it. I've heard Texan great Andre Johnson say something about it as well too. So um, his presence seems to be a cause for consternation. So I don't know. I don't know how well that's going to play this season. We also don't know how much power he has as well too. He is reportedly really close to the owner, Cal McNair. So nobody really knows for sure, for certain, how much power he has as far as personnel moves, coaching moves. We don't know, so we have no idea. We have no idea the role that he actually plays. We just know his title. But a lot of players and people in the organization seem to have a problem with him. So that'll be an interesting storyline as well too, to see what that ends up, see what that ends up turned out, see what that ends up being, at the end of the season. Well, that'd be very 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 interesting. Another thing with the Texans is that are they're not in a they're not in a super good conference, but they are in a competitive. I'm sorry, division. They are in a competitive division. Obviously, you have Tennessee, they're head and shoulders above everybody in the division, especially with the acquisition of Julio Jones. But you have Indy too. The Colts are going to compete. Um, the Colts they're gonna be right there on the heels of the Tennessee Titans. So the Texans really don't have, you know they don't have any leeway as far as the division goes. This is not the it's not the NFC East where you can possibly get into the playoffs with a losing record. It's not going to be that case. So um, it's not going to be easy sledding for these guys at all. They do have a lot of talent on the roster though, and they have a lot of veteran talent on the roster too. And a lot of these vets are on 1 year deals. So um, I believe the Texans should be big. They should be big movers in the trade market, especially at the trade deadline. Um, they should try to look to move some of those contracts, move some of those players. There's going to be teams, contending teams. They might. I mean, it's for certain that you're gonna accrue some injuries throughout the season. Football is a contact sport, so injuries will happen. And depending on what team needs, to plug a guy in, the Texans are full of vets who have played in playoffs, and who have played on really big stages. So they should really, really be a big player in the trade market. Um, because the Texans are they're going through a rebuild process right now. This is the beginning of the rebuild. So they're going to need to acquire as much draft capital as they can because they need to rebuild this team from the ground up. They can try to keep their head above water with these vets on short deals and stuff like that, but they're going to need to rebuild the team. Deshaun Watson wants out. The situation that he's going through right now is obviously not a positive one. So the Texans probably want to trade him anyway, just to have a fresh start, and they're going to need draft capital. So they're going to have to rebuild this thing from the ground up. As far as coaching goes, David Culley. I mean, we don't know much about him either. He's an older gentleman. I believe he's in his 60s. This is his first head coaching opportunity, so we don't know very much about him either. So this is not an ideal situation for a first time head coach to be in. This is a very turbulent, very toxic culture that they have going on in Houston right now. So um, we wish him the best, but this is not an environment to succeed in. So it'll be interesting to see what how he responds to it. But we hope he does his best. With the deck that he's been dealt there in Houston. So you know I don't expect the Texans to do much this year. I do expect them to pick within the top five of next season's draft. Um, Maybe top three. Depending on if they do trade their vets away, and if they are just sticking with young players, and they you know are okay with not winning very many games, they should pick top three, and that's not a bad thing for them. They need it. They need it. They're gonna have to replace Deshaun Watson. They're gonna need a new franchise face. J.J. Watt's not there anymore. All the guys of yesteryear are not there anymore. So they're gonna have to rebuild this thing up. They need draft capital. They're gonna need to be active in the free agent market. In the off season, they're gonna have to be active. Trying to acquire players, trying to build it up, and to get things back to where they where they once were, at least, if not better, but at least where they weren't, once were, consistent, a consistent playoff team, and a team who always had a shot. Because right now it's very destitute. Things do not look good for them right now. And there's no telling how long this Deshaun Watson thing is gonna last. We'll see. We'll see if he gets traded. I think he gets traded. Personally, I think he gets traded right before the season. The NFL has not levied any suspension yet. They've been, like I said, they've been investigating the situation for 6 months. They have not levied any suspension. And there's no talk of the commissioner's exempt list either. So he's free to play football, despite the ongoing investigation. He's free to play football, and I think they do move him. There's going to be injuries coming up. There's going to be a team that wants to get dynamic at quarterback, and he'll be the perfect option. Despite of everything that's going on. So I think that happens right before the season, and if not then, within the first 2 to 3 weeks. But his exit from Houston is imminent. So we'll definitely be on the lookout for that. You know, so like I said, no playoffs. They're in a rebuilding stage, beginning process of a rebuilding stage, and we'll see how things turn out. But I don't have them winning more than 4 games this season. And like I said, picking top 5, potentially top 3. So we'll see what happens, and hopefully they find some success this season in whatever way that is. But yeah, so that is the Houston Texans. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, comment below. Let me know if you agree, disagree. If there's anything that I missed and didn't get to, let me know in the comment section. Thank you guys for listening.